His wife tells him, your criticism of this cult of Chassidim is correct. Look how crazy they are. They sent a woman from some hick town that we should give her husband. You know, like, hey, can you give me my husband back? Like, what's the connection? And Agunah tells Reb Meir, I'm not going to leave until you give me my husband. Okay, MITZVAH, everybody. Azay. So, at the risk of saying a story that I already said, I tried to skim through the videos to make sure that I didn't post it on YouTube. This probably was on Instagram, but I don't know. I'm going to say it anyway because it's a great story. And it's actually a two-part story about how Reb Meir Foils, who was originally not a Chassid, became one of the most ardent Chassidim. Okay, so in a certain Farbrengen, in the times of the Rebbe Rashab in Lubavitch, the Rebbe Rashab told the story of how Reb Meir Foils became a Chassid. Who was Reb Meir Foils? He was the Parnas in Vilna, one of the most respected people in Vilna. He was basically a very rich man. He was in charge of, he was on the committee, he was on the VAD, making sure, the things were running smoothly. Very influential.
But he wasn't a chassid.
He was not a chassid at the beginning, and he ended up becoming one of the Alter Rebbe's greatest chassidim. There's stories with him in Shmuel Munkis. It's good stuff. And this was mamish at the time when there was a huge hisnagdus, time the Alter Rebbe was a huge hisnagdus against the cult, the kat. This was mamish in that time where it was a very heated controversy, whatever it was, especially in Vilna. Vilna was one of the hubs of where the hisnagdus was coming out of. And there were two different events that happened that really made him a chassid. And here is the first one, and next week we're going to discuss the second one. So, there was a certain chassid who his daughter's husband ran away. His son-in-law ran away, left his wife without a get, and now she is in Agunah. Agunah is a woman who's stranded, who can't get married. 3 years had passed from the time that he ran away, and there's no sign. They heard nothing back from him. So what does a chassid do when he's in trouble? He goes to his Rebbe. So the chassid goes with his daughter to the Alter Rebbe, and they tell him exactly what happened. And the Alter Rebbe said that they have to go. The Alter Rebbe said that he should go to Vilna, to the Parnas, who was the Parnas he just said was Reb Meir Foils, but they didn't know that yet, and to ask that he should find the runaway husband. Now, by the Chassidim, what the Alter Rebbe says is 100%. So, right away they got a wagon, and they all the people who were involved in the story got the money together to send them to Vilna. It was very, very far from where they were. And they said, go to Vilna, go to the Parnas, and tell him he has to find the husband. A little bit of a crazy demand, right? And they said that even if they throw her out of the house, and even if they say not nice things to her and curse her, and even if they hit her, she should stay, and she shouldn't stop until they find the husband. That's how much Agunah they had in the Alter Rebbe. They said, doesn't matter what they do to you. The Alter Rebbe said he's going to find, right? They're preparing her for the greeting she's going to get, imagine, from the people who are anti-Chassidim. So that's what she does. After much traveling, she gets to Vilna, and she goes straight to the house of the rich man, Reb Meir Foils. And Reb Meir's in Shul. So what does she do? She, instead of telling Reb Meir, she tells Reb Meir's wife. Tells Reb Meir's wife the whole story. And the Reb Meir's wife, she thinks this is a funny story. How in the world is the husband going to know where this runaway husband is, right? From some far off town of nowhere near Vilna. So when Reb Meir came back from Shul, his wife tells him, your criticism of this cult of Chassidim is correct. Look how crazy they are. They sent a woman, this poor woman from nowhere, from some hick town, that we should give her husband, like, hey, can you give me my husband back? Like, what's the connection? And the Agunah tells Reb Meir that she's not going to leave until, she says she's not going to leave. I'm not going to leave until you give me my husband. So Reb Meir and everyone in the house started ridiculing her and said, do you realize how crazy what you're saying is? Reb Meir and the family saw that nothing they said to her to discourage her helped. So Reb Meir said that he couldn't get rid of her. He said, okay, we can't find him in one day. So go to the place where all the guests go, to the, Hachanasas Orchim place, and we'll see what we'll do. And he thought maybe he'll get rid of her that way. And she went, but he realized that he's not getting rid of her so fast, because every single day she would come and yell and cry, give me my husband. And the Reb Meir tells this over in Shul, and this kind of stoked the flames of the machlekes between the Misnagdim and the Chassidim. And this was like the talk of the town. They were making fun of the fact that the Chassidim, the Rebbe of the Chassidim, sent this lady there. So a few days passed, and Reb Meir was called to go to the police. In Vilna, they would have certain detainees pass through the town, and some of them didn't have any documents, so they didn't know who they were. They were unknown people, unknown individuals. And they would call Reb Meir Fall sometimes to see if he knew some of the people, I guess if they were Yidden, whatever. Reb Meir was a very influential guy, knew a lot of people. And if Reb Meir knew them, there was some kind of arrangement that they had that he would be able to free them. And this is what happened this time also. So when they started calling the names and where these people are from, they called the guy, one of the people, he hears the name of the town where this lady is from. And it kind of rang a bell. He's like, oh, 1 second. This is the town from where this woman is. And he's like, so Reb Meir runs, he says, wait a second. He runs back home, asks this lady who's asking for days, where's my husband? Asks her, what does your husband look like? She starts describing him like, this is the guy. He brings her back to the police, and she takes one look, and like, this is my husband. And he was able to free him, and he gave her a get. From that day on, Reb Meir Falls, he wasn't 100% won over, but from that day on, he didn't think of the Chassidim the same way. There was some movement. He had a shift a little bit. He said that it seems that in Vilna, they're not saying the full story about the Chassidim, and they're not 100% right. He wasn't sure, so he didn't decide yet. And he said maybe this is just a coincidence, which is a crazy thing. You could still, they had to have such a strong isnagdus in Vilna to Chassidim to be able to after that say maybe it's still a coincidence. But he already, his mind started shifting, and he decided he's not going to tell anybody, and he's going to wait to see if he'll see further proof that the Chassidim are not as they say in Vilna. And we're going to say that story next week. Stay tuned.
Is it part 2?
Yes, part 2
It's a very long story.
is going to come. So, good talk, everybody.